Good morning, folks. Welcome to your 9 a.m. workout. Before we begin, make sure you have a set of dumbbells and a knee sleeve. We will not need a resistance band. Today we'll be going through every exercise twice. I will demonstrate the first round through, and then the second time you'll be joining in with me as well. And with that, let's go ahead and begin with the warm-up. We're going to start things off with some heel taps. You can put your hands on your hips, perfectly fine here. Get that heart rate up going just a little bit. Nice and light on your feet here. Kind of pushing through the toes as I'm hopping here. Let's switch to some butt kicks. Drive those heels all the way up, warm up those hamstrings. Heels all the way up to the butt. Turn to the side here, drive them up. A couple more here, and then we're going to shift to high knees. Get those hip flexors, quadricep muscles going a little bit. All right, heart rate's going to continue to spike here as those knees come up. That's good, because this is a warm-up. We want to get that heart rate elevated so we can get oxygen into those muscles, prepping you for the workout to come. All right, we'll come out of that. I want you to hold a squat here with some reverse arm circles. Now, really pull the abs in, squeeze your glutes, and puts your hips in a nice position here, and then some reverse arm circles. With the arm circles here, we're not really swinging the arms. I want you to actually feel the muscles to the upper back, contract, pulling the arms open. So you should feel those upper back muscles engage. And then with your hands in front, let's squat down to an overhead reach. Try to stay nice and upright on that squat. Try not to fall forward. We'll be doing hinging later in the hour, but not right now. So sit back into those hips as we squat here. We'll do a couple more here, and then we'll hold that squat again, and going back into those reverse arm circles. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. And then hold your squat again for some reverse arm circles. Again, try not to have too much swing here. Just control the movement. Remember, abs in, squeeze the glutes. That'll actually naturally put your hips in a neutral position. We'll talk about that more later in the hour once we get into a couple more exercises. A couple more here. And then I want to do a couple more butt kicks. Let's go into those now. We'll do some high knees after this. Then we're going to get right into it. So high knees, drive them up nice and high. Try to get the knees all the way up to hip height. Oftentimes I see people, we're just kind of doing this. Drive them up. Let's warm up those hip flexors. Get that heart rate elevated a little bit. Get those quads working. Knees up. A couple more. And really good. So we're going to start off with some dumbbells. So I don't have any equipment. That's okay. I can demonstrate without. But for you, you want your dumbbells for this. So we're going to be stepping back with a little shoulder flexion. We'll look like this. Arms come up as you step back into the lunge, and then we'll alternate sides. And go ahead, come in with me. So I'm going to continue to roll here, but oftentimes I'll come out of the exercises just to explain what it is exactly that you want to be feeling or thinking about as you're doing this. So I'm going to stop here, but you continue to step back with that shoulder flexion. I will show you from the side actually real quick. So a couple things to think about. I want you to bend the back knee 90 degrees. Oftentimes when people do a backward lunge, that back leg is really, really straight. Not the end of the world. But when you bend the knee, what happens is you get a nice stretch of that quadricep muscle that pulls on that psoas. Plus it helps to meet that low back, nice neutral position. We're doing a lot of the lunges here and a lot of the squats. We want to prevent the hips from tilting forward. So bending the back knee helps with that, as well as activating that glute muscle as you come out of the lunge. You've got 15 seconds here. So continue to step back with that shoulder flexion. Continue to roll. I'll tell you when to transition out. What we're going to be doing next is arms are going to be up the entire time now as we step back. So I'm demonstrating here. And go ahead, join me. So just keep your arms up, but continue to lunge back. Heart rate should slightly elevate over the series here. Nothing too crazy, but definitely want that heart rate coming up. And again, if you can see from the side here, I am still bending the back knee. You'll also notice that I have a really nice straight line from the knee all the way up through the hands. Try to work towards that. So really drawing the abs in and squeezing the glutes when you're coming out of the lunge will help with that neutral spine position. It also helps with the muscle-length relationships through the spine into the hips as you're doing your lunges. You got 30 seconds here, so just continue to lunge, hold those arms up. Now, you'll notice from the front here, my arms are really straight. Oftentimes I see people with a lot of bend in their elbows. Can often mean tightness to the upper back and shoulders. Work through that. You still want to keep your shoulders down, but try to straighten the elbows and make sure those wrist joints are stacked. A lot of people like to bend the wrists, perhaps you as well. You can keep the wrists straight so we have a nice long line through the entire body. You got 5 more seconds here, so just finish up that last lunge. And then with your left leg forward, make sure your feet are in their lanes. We're going to do some abduction. So it'll look like this. Simply left leg forward, arms coming up. Go ahead, join me now. So again, just hold that static lunge. I'll show you from the side here real quick. You can see my arms, they're always staying in this lateral plane here. So as I abduct up, you might notice your arms want to flex forward. Try to resist that. Keep your arms back. Now I'm going to come out of it, but by keeping your arms back, what you're doing is you're really forcing a lot of that stretch and muscle activation through those upper back muscles. Yes, it's a little more difficult to do it that way, but again, you're going to optimize all those muscle length relationships through those upper back muscles. You've got 20 seconds here, and then we're going to simply switch sides, but continue to do the same thing with that arm abduction. And then we're going to go through the whole series once more. I'm just going to continue to talk, but you continue to move here. So 10 more seconds, and then we're going to switch legs, arms abduct up. And I've already mentioned the elbows. Try to continue to keep them straight. You'll notice when the arms get way up, everything starts to kind of fold. Go ahead and switch sides. So the right leg now is forward. Notice how my feet are about 6 inches apart or hip width. Yours should be as well. Again, as I come all the way up, make sure the head doesn't fall forward. So again, if you were to see from a side profile, straight lines. Straight line from that back knee, all the way up the leg, through the torso, into the shoulder, up into the arm in that finished position. Head doesn't fall forward, back doesn't arch. So really pull the abs in. That does create that length through that lumbar spine. Yes, it's perhaps a little bit harder to do it that way, but it's also super effective. All right. So now what I want to do, hold your arms up the entire time, and then alternating backward lunge. Go ahead with that. Just keep those arms up. We're going to keep pulling the abs in. Try not to let the arms pull forward. You got about 30 seconds left with this one, and then once again, we'll be holding that left leg forward. But continue to keep the arms up as you got that alternating backward lunge. Make sure to push through the heel here. You have 20 seconds on this, so that as you're standing up, you really feel the weight load push through that heel to come out of that lunge. In 10 seconds here, then we'll simply hold that left leg. Go ahead, join me. So hold that left leg forward, bend that back knee, arms into that abduction. Just continue to move. Now you notice the pace that I'm going. Should take about 2 seconds up and down on the movement. That's just a little more time under tension for the muscles. So you're not really swinging the weight. I want you to feel the muscles contract, particularly the lateral head of that delt. Keeping your shoulders down, keeping the arms wide really will help with that pursuit. In about 20 seconds here, we're going to simply switch sides. Yes, your legs are probably burning a lot. I know mine were, even just in the demonstration. Once again, I'll show you from this side here. Again, weight to the heel. I want you to definitely push into the toe on that back foot as we abduct, really drawing the abs in. You got a little more than 5 seconds here, and then we'll simply switch sides, switch legs. So just finish up your last rep, and then go ahead. I'll show you from the front. Right foot forward here. Again, feet about 6 inches apart. Pull the abs in as the abduct up. Make sure that head and neck also stay long. So again, I see a lot where the head falls forward, shoulders come up. That does put unnecessary compression through that cervical spine, something you do want to avoid. The whole idea of this is we're trying to create length, even traction through the spine while you're holding that lunge. So get yourself as stretched out or as long as possible. Your spine is much longer in this position than it is in this position. So pull your head back, pull your abs in, tuck your hips under as you abduct those arms up. Now you got 20 seconds here. This will finish the series. I'm going to actually give you a quick drink of water because we're kind of blasting things off right off the bat. So finish up here the last 10 seconds. I've got water as well. I'm going to take a little break, but 5 more here. Finish that last rep and then grab yourself a quick drink of water. We'll give you about 20 seconds or so, and then we're going to get right into the next exercise. So the next series is a balance series. You can set your dumbbells down. Let me give you a quick demonstration. So hands at the sides the entire time. I want you to prevent the arms from falling forward. As we hinge at the hips, you're going to be pointing the toe and trying your best to keep the leg nice and straight. Hold for a moment, hinging back up, and then switching sides. So go ahead, come in and join me, and I'm going to continue to cue. I might show you a side rep, but start with the hinging. So a couple things to think about with this one. Even if your range of motion is shallow, perhaps it's only here, and if that's as far as you can go, it means it's still effective. If you can't quite, if you're trying to go too low, say here, and you're totally losing your balance, shallow up that range. What you want to be thinking about with this is really pushing down on the big toe and feeling the arch of the foot. Really important because we're trying to strengthen the medial chain. You'll also notice that as you hinge, there's a certain point where the knee really likes to bend. Try to resist that. Keep that leg nice and straight as you're hinging. You should feel your feet grip the floor. You got 5 seconds here. And then go ahead and finish that last rep. Let me show you what's next. So I keep my hands on the hips with this because it's really important that your hips stay level and we're not canting. All you're simply doing is with the flexed foot, lifting that leg up, hold for a second, and then simply switch sides. Again, same thing. I want you to really feel the foot grip the floor. Go ahead, begin with that, and I'm going to continue to talk. So oftentimes when people lift that leg up, I know it seems like a pretty straightforward movement, but they get a lot of cant in the hip. That actually means that you've gone too far for range of motion due to the way the muscles through the hip flexors are pulling on the low back. So this is why your hands need to be on the hip to optimize those muscle length relationships. You got 30 seconds on this, and then we got a little stretch exercise, which should feel kind of good because we've been blasting things off pretty quick into the hour. So continue to lift here. You got 15 seconds. Hold for that moment. Now, really think about squeezing the upper inner thighs with this one. That'll help to keep that foot that's balanced here nice and straight, and do your best not to bend the knee. You got 5 seconds here. Finish that last rep. I'm going to demonstrate from the side here. We've got a left leg forward, standing forward knee with spine flexion. A lot of words, but all that simply means is stagger your feet. Make sure your feet are both forward. We are going to be coming forward with the arms. The goal is to flex the spine and try to get the forehead to the knee with straight legs. Now that's full range of motion. If you need to bend your knee a lot, even if you can't get to the knee, you could obviously grab the back of the leg, but continue to try to pull the abs in and round that spine. Go ahead, join me. So as you hold the position, you might feel a tremendous stretch at the back of the leg here. Don't overwhelm yourself with that. It's really important that we don't overstretch muscles, particularly those hamstrings. Hamstrings pull on the pelvis. That can cant the hips and actually just even bug the low back. So again, less is more with this. Back off. And again, you're still trying to round the spine as much as you can as you hold the movement. I will show you from the front. You've got 10 seconds on this. Just go ahead, finish the last 5 seconds here. And then go ahead, switch sides. Just continue to listen to my voice because obviously your head will be down. So as you're trying to flex over, it is important that your hips stay in a neutral position. So with this right leg now forward, try to push your right leg back. You'll notice that the hip might want to roll forward again, keeping your hips in a straight line. So if you were to look from the side, it would look like your hips were even. They're not canted all over the place. Again, that will just simply change the muscle length relationships, and we want to keep your spine in a neutral position so you can really release the muscles through the backside of that front leg. You got 30 seconds here, and we're going to go through the whole series once more, again, starting with that hinging exercise, but finish here in the last 15 seconds or so. Pull the abs in. Now, as you're rounding over, try to tuck the tailbone under. It's really hard to do, but again, if you're pulling diaphragmatic tension, so if you think from pubic bone all the way up to the sternum, like trying to just vacuum in, it can help with that pursuit of releasing the backside muscles. You got 5 seconds here, and then we're going to do it all over again. So go ahead, stand up, come out of that. Again, now hinging, I'll show you at the side. Keep your arms at your sides as you hinge forward. Point the back toe. The goal is to get into a T position with a straight leg. If you're not quite there, not the end of the world, go ahead, just get right into it. Again, pointing that back toe. As you hinge forward, a couple things to think about. Again, try not to bend the knees. When you bend the knee of that standing leg, what happens is that the hip will twist, it'll cant. And again, it kind of changes how the muscles are being activated through the back of the legs. I want you to feel the inner thigh as much as the outer thigh. So this is why your hips need to stay square. If you're rotating, you're going to feel more in the outer thigh than say evenly distributed throughout the leg. You got 20 seconds here, so continue to hinge. Another thing to think about is as you're hinging, really emphasize pointing. Oh, excuse me here. Really emphasize pointing through that toe. Because again, we want to get the entire medial chain of those leg muscles. So you can think those inside leg muscles engaged. You got 5 seconds here. Go ahead, finish that. And then standing tall with me, you can have your hands on your hips. We're going to do a flex foot leg lift. So here we go. Again, alternating your legs. Try not to bend the knees as those legs lift. Hold for a second here. Make sure your hips are level. That's why I'm asking you to keep your hands on your hips. Got 30 seconds yet. And try not to bend the knee. So when I do this, I'm really pushing down hard on that big toe. It's okay if you don't get to parallel with the floor with the leg, even if the leg's only here, but it makes sure that your hips are square. If that's where you are, that's perfectly fine. In time, as the muscles through the back of the legs and the hip flexors learn to improve their stretch tolerance, the leg will simply lift a little further without that cant through the hip. That's what we want to work towards, eventually getting you to a parallel position with that leg without having to compromise the knee with the knee bending, so you're still able to keep that leg nice and straight, hips level, holding, flexing through the foot. Again, that takes a lot of strength through the low back, even the core, and certainly a nice hamstring length. All right, I'm going to show you from the side. We're going to go with that standing forehead to the knee. So we've got our left leg forward here first. I will show you full form. Again, it would look something like this with my toes forward, legs straight. Try to get the crown of that head towards the knee. Compensations you can make. You can certainly bend that front knee. You can even come out a little higher. Oftentimes bending or grabbing behind the knee will help you to round flex through that spine. Again, make sure the toes are forward. And especially with that front left foot right now, you got 30 seconds. I want you to push down hard on that big toe. I see a lot of people that are exceptionally weak through the medial chain and much stronger through the lateral chain. That just oftentimes is a result of sitting incorrectly and then the hip flexors and the muscles through the hips really tightening. So I like to just put a lot of emphasis into that medial chain to correct for poor sitting posture and just kind of how our lives naturally put our feet and our pelvis in that forward tilt, causing feet to turn out. So we can correct for that with exercise. Let's go ahead and do our right foot forward now. Same thing, again, toes facing forward on this. As we flex our spine over, pull those abs in, like hollow them out. Try to pull your abs all the way into that anterior of the spine and the front side of that spine as we round forward, forehead to the knee. Even if you have to bend the knee, not a big deal. Now, again, hamstring stretch. Oftentimes people say, well, this one's really overwhelming on that front leg hamstring. Back off. Seriously, you can injure yourself through stretching, not just exercise. Stretching can be very taxing on the nervous system, on the body. So when you do a stretch in general, you should feel tension about a 4 or a 5 out of 10. If you start exceeding that, it oftentimes can be too stressful, and that can actually lead to like tendonitis and wear and tear actually at the attachments of those muscles to the bone. So just back off is what I'm saying. So you got 10 seconds here, and I'm going to grab another drink of water. We'll take about 10 seconds, a real quick drink, and then we're going to need our dumbbells again. Finish up here in the last 3. And that's good. Go ahead and grab a quick drink of water. And then we'll actually be in an L-sit position. So we'll be on our butts here. But make sure you have your dumbbells. So I'm going to show you from the front so it's easy to see. In an L-sit position, I want your feet together. Flex your feet. Arms are going to be in this position. Dumbbells are going to be in hands. Now, you'll notice my elbows are at shoulder height. And then I'm simply externally rotating the shoulder open. So it'll look like this. Again, you have light dumbbells, 3s or 5s. I probably would, I would keep those elbows up. Try not to let those elbows drop as you're going through the external rotation. If you haven't already started with me, go ahead. Now, as you're sitting here, I'm going to rotate from the sides just so you can see how my spine is looking, because this is really important, sitting posture. So I love L-sit exercises because they really do force stretching through the psoas muscle. You can think those low back muscles. They will in time release the back of the hip as well as the hamstrings and strengthen the core. So this also, if you can sit like this correctly, you're probably going to sit just naturally really, really well. And it can even enhance standing posture because of the muscle length relationships and just how mobile you are through the hips. So sit forward, try to sit light on your sit bones. If you feel like you're really slouching back and you can't get forward, bend the knees. Hamstrings attached to the hips and the hamstrings pull on those hips. So bending the knees can help you with sitting forward. You got 5 seconds here, and then we'll be back on our feet. So go ahead, join me on my feet. Continue to keep the dumbbells in your hands. We're doing a T-fly. I'm going to show you from the front here. So hinged position. Actually, this position is the same as the L-sit, but I'm just standing now. And your arms are coming wide to a T. And then back down. Go ahead, join. I will show you from the side. So notice my feet are about 6 inches apart or hip width. My back is nice and flat. I'm not rounding to the spine. The spine is flat. And then as I come up high, I make sure that the head does not come forward. Again, flat spine. So if the head comes forward, oftentimes that's a result of the trap muscles being too tight. And that certainly might be your case, but continue to try to pull the head back as if someone were to like pull the head back as your arms abduct up high and wide. Remember to draw the abs in. If you squeeze your glutes too, it helps to create an anchor for that low back. That's really important because we are trying to actively work through those upper back muscles without compromising the head forward. So even just abs in, squeezing glutes can help with that pursuit. So just think about that. You've got 10 seconds here and we're back on our butts to the L-sit with T rotation. So I'll show you from the front here. Go ahead and join, just hop right in. Arms up. Now think elbows, shoulder height. Don't let them fall and make sure the shoulder doesn't shrug. Again, if you have tight traps, oftentimes the shoulders shrug as the arms abduct up. If that's you, just continue to pull the head back. Because while we are still strengthening through that rotator cuff, those upper back muscles, we are actually lengthening through the back neck muscles, those trap muscles. Oftentimes they get tight, especially if you find yourself kind of like head forward, say you're on your phone or what have you. You want to make sure that the trap remains nice and mobile. You want to have length through the neck. That will inherently give you good posture. Your shoulders naturally fall down and back. The head is naturally going to pull back, and you'll have nice length through the neck. So again, as you're doing your T rotations here, really focus on the depression of the shoulder and fully opening the arms. You have 5 seconds here, and we're already back on our feet. Go ahead, join me here. I'm going to show you from the side. Again, a little T-fly, making sure not to hinge up as we do a T-fly. I want you to stay hinged over the entire time. Pull the abs in, squeeze the glutes. Now your arms should remain nice and long through this. So we're not bending the elbows, you're not bending the wrists. And pull the abs in, squeeze the glutes. So you continue to rep here. I'm going to take a little break from talking because my heart rate's actually spiking a lot. So continue to do the movement. I can do it with you as well. If you have any doubts about form, you can certainly look to me. I'll show you from the front here. We've got 20 seconds on this one. Again, nice and smooth on the lift. Pull the abs in, squeeze your glutes. And 10 seconds here. Another thing to think about, squeeze the upper inner thighs together as you squeeze the glutes. Now, that might feel impossible for you right now, squeezing the inner thighs together while engaging the glutes, but that is something you want to eventually get good at because that will affect how you actually just engage the glutes as a whole and how the femurs will even sit if you're able to squeeze those upper inner thighs while engaging the glutes. You got one more rep here. Go ahead and come out of that. So now we got a bodyweight pulse squat, so you can set those dumbbells down. Quick little demonstration. Hands can just come in front like this, and it's a little pulse. So go ahead, join here. Continue to pulse. Now, a couple of things to think about when you are pulsing. I'll show you from the side here. It's really important that that lumbar is in a neutral position so that the hips are not collapsing forward. Now, this isn't the end of the world. It's not like it's going to kill you, but if your low back is starting to fall forward, what ends up happening is you're turning off the glute, and you're actually losing some abdominal tension, and you're throwing a lot of the tension or the weight load into that lumbar spine. Again, not the end of the world, but what we're trying to do here with the pulsing squat or just squats in general, we've got about 20 seconds here, is that we want to get the glutes to do the pulsing or do the lifting, not the low back. So again, abs in, tuck the tailbone under as you squeeze the glutes, pulsing up and down. You should really feel your low butt muscle firing. And you got 5 more seconds here. So finish up that pulse. Now pigeon. So pigeon, the right leg is going to be under with this. We're trying to actually release the same muscles you just contracted. This should actually feel kind of nice. So my back leg, the left leg, toe is pointed. You can obviously see the front leg is forward. Now, the goal here is to also get your hips nice and square. If this is not you, if you need to be a little higher up and even support yourself, perfectly fine. But in time, you'll find full range of motion. So we're going to hang out now for about 30 seconds on this side. And we'll just do 30 seconds or so on the other side just to keep. We're trying to release here the muscles that go from your tailbone over to the trochanter. You can take that ball and socket of the femur, like the head of the femur. Those muscles, those are trying to release, like the piriformis, even the glute a little bit that attach to the lower on that femur. You want to release all those muscles, as obviously they will affect your gait as well as like just the length relationships of those muscles through the pelvis as we just naturally move. Go ahead and switch sides here. So now we'll do the left side. The left leg is under. Rotating now my right hip down. Now this side's actually a little tighter for me, so I can't get quite as close to the floor on this side. Perhaps you notice a side that is a little more tight than another. Everyone tends to have one. Just work through that. Again, with these stretches, if this is too intense, back off, right? You can always come out of it a little bit. You know, when you stretch, 4 or 5 should be kind of like the pain tolerance on it. Anything higher than that can tend to start to overwhelm the system. And again, that can, if you do too much of it, can certainly lead to injury in time. And I've certainly known people that have had injuries just from simply trying to stretch too often or too vigorously. So less is more oftentimes, because if you think about a stretch, it's supposed to release tension. And if the stretch is so painful, well, clearly you're not releasing tension. You're probably building tension. So it's the opposite effect that we're after. All right, we're gonna get right back on our feet. We've got a pulsing squat again. Again, body weight with this. Feet a little wider than shoulder width, toes turned up, and begin pulsing. Again, as we pulse, remember abs in, tuck the hips under, squeeze the glutes as you're pulsing. Just nice and controlled, nice and slow movement. We are gonna do a full minute here. Just nice and controlled. Every time I pulse up, I am squeezing my glutes. So I'm actively thinking glutes contract, and that glute contraction is what is causing the lift. Now my weight is evenly distributed through the foot, but I'm definitely more on the heel of the foot. My knees are not collapsing in. So I would like to see a straight line, if you think from the ball and socket of the hip joint all the way down through the foot. So, I mean, obviously you might not be able to take a look in terms of the angle, but again, you want straight lines out. So we're doing a little bit of abduction of the leg. Because the knees are going out, you got 15 seconds here. Keep pulsing. I know this one kind of burns a lot. Just resist the best you can of the hips tilting forward. Again, glute exercise. You got 3 seconds here. And let's do that pigeon again. I'll show you from the side how this looks. Right leg is under here first. Again, point that back toe. Try to keep the hips nice and square as you hinge forward. And we're just going to hang out here. Now I'm going to hang out here too because this actually feels really nice for me. And I want you to draw your abs in. Now, if you can. If you can't, not a big deal. But what ultimately we want to do is, as we're trying to present ourselves flatter to the floor, try to actually tilt your pelvis forward. That might be a little too much for you today. Maybe not. And if it's not, certainly work towards tilting that pelvis forward. When I say tilting forward, even if you couldn't see, it's this action. This is a forward tilt. This is a tuck. So when we're in this stretch right now, tilt the pelvis forward to further enhance. If it's too much, don't do it. Just try to get into the position and hold the position. We've got about 10 more seconds on this side. Just relax. Just let it go. Shouldn't be too overwhelming. You got about another 5 seconds or so. Just hang out. And then let's go ahead, switch sides. So the left leg is coming forward. We got a full minute here. Should feel kind of nice. We're actually going to grab another quick drink of water after this minute. But for now, just hang out. So again, releasing tailbone muscles over to the back of the head of that femur. Try to rotate your right hip down right now. And then reaching through the toe of that back foot actually will help with that rotating of that right hip down. So again, reach to that toe to do that. If you're feeling really mobile and you can actually drop down to your arms, perfectly fine. If you want a full range of motion through to the spine even, you can certainly reach forward and flatten completely to the floor. But again, it takes quite a bit of mobility, quite a bit of range of motion, not just even through the hips, but then through the spine if you're going to go into that full form. Got about 15 more seconds here. I'm going to come out of that. You just keep hanging out. Please don't overwhelm yourself with pigeon. Oftentimes people do. Back off a little bit. If that means you have to come up, please do so. In about 5 more seconds here, we'll take a quick drink of water. And you can come out of that. Let's grab a quick drink of water. We'll give you about 30 seconds on this one. So just take your time, catch your breath. We're making good time so far. Really good. We're actually about halfway through already. So we are certainly making some progress. So what we got next is we're going to be holding a push-up plank position with a heel lift. Let me give you a quick demonstration and I'll ask you to join. So as I'm in this plank position here, you'll notice my shoulders are directly over my palms. And then I'm simply going to lift the heel without bending the knee and then alternating sides. Go ahead, come in with me. Now what's really important with this is that we're not rotating the hips as you're lifting. Think of your hips being quite literally locked in a forward position. What helps with that is by pulling the abs in, squeezing the glutes. Does that make it a little harder to hold? Yeah, because you're building more tension through the spine and through the hips. But what it also does is it ensures that, again, those length relationships that run all those muscles down the spine into the hips, that they stay in that neutral position. And so when you do the lift, you are right where you want to be. And then with the shoulders and upper back, something to think about, slightly turn the hands out because that slight turn out, that helps with the external rotation of the shoulder, which will actually help with the depression of the shoulder. Oftentimes in push-ups, you got 15 seconds here, or even planks for that matter, I see a lot of people arch the back and pike the hips. I want neither. You would want to see your spine in a nice flat position. So again, push the knees back, squeeze the glutes, pull the abs in, shoulders back and down, make sure the head does not fall forward. All right, we're going to flip over onto our back, give you a quick demonstration. A couple ways of doing this. I'm going to show you the easier version, and then if you're really advanced, we'll do the harder version. Hold your arms back, find a position where the range of motion feels appropriate to you. So if that's here, that's perfectly fine. And then simply lift the right leg all the way up and then back down. We're always going to be on the right side. My left heel, by the way, is driving hard into the floor. If you haven't already started with me, please do so. Now, if you're really advanced on this, and you feel like, hey, this isn't too hard, you can actually try to lift and hover that left heel off the floor as you do a right leg hip flexion. I'm going to come out of this. A couple things to think about as you continue to raise that as you continue to raise that right leg, is drive the left heel really hard into the floor if your left heel is down. If your left heel is not down, it doesn't apply. But if your left heel is down into the floor, drive it really, really hard into the floor, as that tension with your heel going down will actually help to square and anchor the hips. That's a good thing, because as you lift the right leg, we want to make sure that the hips don't rotate so that the hamstrings, even all the way into the calves, the Achilles tendon, all the way down into the foot, all of those muscles are being optimally stretched. Switch sides. So same thing, but now we've got the right heel likely driving into the floor, arms back still, as that left leg flexes up. Now you notice my foot is flexed on this. Sometimes I ask you to point the toe, but right now I'm going to ask you to have that foot flexed and try to straighten the knee. You'll notice the higher that leg lifts, the more the knee wants to bend, oftentimes because that hamstring or the calf muscles are tight. Work through that. Your body naturally has some resistances. We can strengthen the quad to work through the resistance of the hamstring and calf muscles. So pulling up on the kneecap helps to further elicit that quad contraction. Now, as you're lifting here again, pushing down hard through that right heel, you got 15 seconds on this. Pull the abs in. I want to make sure that low back is not arching. Continue to roll here in the last 5 seconds. Then we have corpse pose, which should feel actually really nice. Hubble one more lift here. And then go ahead, bring the foot down, hands at your sides, palms facing you up. I want you to pull your shoulders back and down and reach the crown of the head towards the wall behind you. With your heels, I want you to reach your heels towards the wall in front of you. Now again, pull your shoulder blades back and down with your fingertips. Also reach those towards that wall where your feet are. Again, head going in the opposite direction. What we're doing here is traction of the spine. So as you're holding this corpse pose position, you might notice that your feet want to evert out, and you'll notice that where the heel is being placed on the floor, it's on the lateral side of the foot. Again, that oftentimes is a byproduct of tight hips and tight low back. And even just in a resting position, we can see how the body wants to naturally fold or move because of tension or tightness through the kinetic chain. And so we can actually counter and correct for that, even in just resting postures, if you kind of know what to do. So pull the head that way or back as you reach through the heels in the opposite direction. Make sure you draw the abs in because the spine should be really flat to the floor. We want to not arch. And how flat are the back of your legs to the floor? You got about 5 more seconds here and we're already back to that push-up with the heel lift. I'm going to show you from the front this time. Go ahead, join me already. So on that lift, hold for a second. And then simply switch sides. On the lift, I still want you to flex the heels. Make sure the knee is straight. I see people bend the knee quite a bit. So try to straighten the knee as you lift through the heel. Pull the abs in, squeeze the glutes. Don't forget about the knee. Make sure the shoulders are back and what's going on with the head. Again, try not to let that head collapse forward. Think of a straight line, just like the corpse pose. Quite literally, your mechanics of your body should be the same as they were. You're just flipped and happen to be holding yourself on your palms. That's it. Make sure your palms are directly underneath your shoulders. Continue to squeeze your shoulder blades back. Continue to reach that crown of the head up. Pull the abs in, squeeze the glutes. Pull up on the kneecaps, tighten the quads. And on that lift, reach through the heel. You got 15 more seconds here. Continue to roll, and then we'll be on our back in 10 more seconds. So maybe a couple more on each side, maybe 1 more on each side. You got 5 more here. Finish your last reps here. And go ahead, join me here on my back. We're doing right leg only. So if your heel is down on the floor, make sure you are driving that heel into the floor really, really hard. Again, that is an anchor for your hips. I want you to have a straight leg, both legs straight. So again, driving the heel into the floor will actually help elicit that straight leg that we want on that left side. And also, again, that heel down, that left heel down into the floor helps to anchor. Now, if you're one of those people that are super mobile through your hip flexors, super mobile through your hamstrings, and you've got really nice ab strength, really nice core strength, then certainly you can try. You got 20 seconds here. You can certainly try the exercise with hovering of the left heel as you lift the leg. But this is actually quite a bit harder. It's quite a bit more demanding because your spine is going to want to at least assist to help with the hovering leg. So you just have to have really, really mobile hips to do this as I'm demonstrating right now. And if you're not quite there yet, again, just push the heel into the floor as you lift the leg. You got 2 seconds, so let's switch sides. So now left leg lifting up. Again, flex that foot. Push the right heel now into the floor. And let's just talk about the spine real quick. Again, you want that spine in a nice traction position or just as flat as you can. So even though the arms are back, you still should be feeling the shoulder blades being depressed down. Squeeze them down. Your shoulders are not here. If your shoulders elevate, your head's going to lift and tilt. I know this is a big exaggeration, but you get the point. Keep your shoulders down so that you can keep the length through the back of the neck. Flatten yourself out. What you're trying to do is stretch your spine while at the same time strengthening through the hips, releasing the hamstrings and back of the foot. Now, when you lift that foot, another little thing, make sure that the foot that left foot now is not rotating open. So it's not externally rotating. It's just straight up and down. Continue to pull up on that quadricep muscle so that we release the hamstrings and further strengthen those quad muscles. We've got 5 seconds here, and then we've got another corpse pose. Go ahead, join me now into that corpse pose. I already talked about the feet, but I'm going to reiterate that. So make sure that the feet now are in a neutral position. You might notice even just hanging out here, just naturally, everything wants to like really externally rotate, and where the focal point of how the heel rests on the floor is really on the outside. When I see that happen, it's kind of a guarantee that the person has very tight hip flexors, tight hamstrings, tight calf muscles. It's the whole kinetic chain. It's very unlikely that I see someone that perhaps has really mobile hip flexors but tight calf muscles. Everything is kind of interrelated and connected. So this is why even just practicing a resting posture, we want neutral position. So if you have to do a little work to hold the feet neutral, that's okay. In time, it actually gets really easy, where you don't even have to apply like pressure to the muscle to hold you just in that neutral position. Likewise with the head, neck, and shoulders. Reach the fingertips down towards the wall, towards your feet as you pull the crown of the head in the opposite direction. Let's lengthen through that cervical spine, through that neck. Let's lengthen through the trap. Doing that naturally will draw the shoulders in the opposite direction, enhancing those length relationships. All right, you can come out of your corpse pose. We're going to be back to our dumbbells now. Grab yourself a quick drink of water, if you will. It's a good little break point to do so. And then we'll be on our feet. So with your dumbbells in hands, go ahead, join me on my feet. We're going to be doing an internally rotated shoulder press. Feet about 6 inches apart, hands like this, so palms facing you as you press up. Go ahead, join, and I'm going to continue to talk. You can see me here for a couple more reps. So you'll notice on the lift here, my elbows are not abducting out. They're not rolling away from midline of my body. You'll also know that the distance between my elbows and my inside of my wrists remain the same distance throughout. This is important because while we're doing this internally rotated shoulder press, the whole idea is to stretch through that subscap and that lateral rotator cuff. So again, keeping equidistance between the elbows and the wrists really helps to release all of these muscles. Now your range of motion might be really shallow on this, and that's okay. We've got 30 seconds here. Now, as you lift, even again, if you're only a couple inches, that's fine. Again, it's important that we maintain equidistances. If the elbows abduct out, you're actually shortening the muscles that we're trying to lengthen. So I'd rather see you do something like literally like this, if that's your range of motion, than go like that, just to get a little higher up. You're kind of defeating the entire point of it. 15 more seconds here, and then we've got a standing abduction. So just continue to roll, and I'll talk more about that exercise because there's actually a lot involved with this one. But for now, standing, continue with your feet 6 inches or so apart, palms now facing forward. We're doing a little standing abduction. Not the hardest exercise in the world, but it's actually fairly technical because there's a lot happening through the spine. Go ahead, join, and I'll just continue to cue. So again, shoulders are down, arms are straight. Now I know I make this look pretty easy, but you'll notice probably when you get to about here somewhere, everything starts to want to bend. Your elbows want to bend, your wrists want to bend, and you just tune into that. What's going on at the elbow joint? What's going on at the wrist joint? Because what happens at the wrist, what happens at the elbows directly affects the shoulders, head, and neck. It's the kinetic chain. It's the whole length relationships of your muscles, how really from the origin of the spine all the way through the hands. Same thing applies with the feet. It's all interrelated. And when you stack your joints, when you have that full length, you're optimizing the stretch from the origin, from the spine, through the limbs, and all the way out. So again, focus on straight form as you lift. Now, when you really get in towards this top of the position, really focus on drawing the abs in. You got just 5 seconds here. And then we've got a hinge hold with dumbbell shoulder extension. So go ahead, finish that last rep. I'm going to show you from the side here. So we're once again in a hinge position, feet still 6 inches apart. But now we're doing extension and then back down. So go ahead, join me. Still have the dumbbells in hands. On the lift, make sure that we're not hinging up on the lift. So stay nice and low. Now create some anchor points for your low back. You can do that by pushing down on your big toes. Feel the arch of the foot. Squeeze the upper inner thighs by pulling up on the quads and again trying to like pinch, but I don't want to see you collapse the knees. Just feel the muscles of the inner thighs engage. Pulling up the kneecaps help with that. Squeeze your glutes. So can you do those 3 things at the same time? Can you keep your knees straight? Squeeze the inner thighs, squeeze the glutes. It's tough to do, but that's something we want to work towards. Now add the abs. Draw the abs in, but don't forget about anything down the chain. Because again, what we're doing up and down affects everything up and down, quite literally. And then as you extend those arms back, squeeze the shoulder blades back. Make sure the head does not come forward. Again, these movements seem pretty straightforward, but they're actually fairly technical because I do want to have good form. And to have good form, there's a lot involved with the body mechanically as we go through. You got 15 more seconds here, so continue with those extensions. This whole series is designed for your shoulders. We're doing flexion, abduction, and extension. Again, all designed to optimize those length relationships to the head, neck, and shoulders. Now go ahead, stand tall for me with that internally rotated shoulder press and begin on the lift. Now the forearms should always, you might not have 360-degree mirror around you, but say if I were to like walk around you, your form would remain perpendicular with the floor, not just vertical, but like perpendicular at all ranges of motion. So the forearms aren't rotating forward, they're not collapsing in, you're not abducting the elbows out, it's just straight up and down. The technical thing to think about is what's happening with the low back. Because this directly affects how the lats attached to the shoulder, but the origin is all the way down to the low back. As the arm lifts up, because the lats, if they don't want to stretch, your actually hips are going to tilt forward. You might notice that. This is where the glutes squeeze and the abs draw in are really important. Because if you create an anchor here, you can actually optimize the stretch up here. Might not make sense intuitively just yet, and that's okay. Just think about squeezing the glutes, abs in, as you abduct the arms up. All right, let's switch to the abduction here. Feet still in their lanes, arms coming up. Now, I just talked about that, squeezing the glutes, pulling abs in. That's also important here. Why? Because we don't want the pelvis to tilt forward as we abduct up. If this happens, I can almost guarantee your elbow's going to bend and your wrist's going to bend. I can actually guarantee it. Work against that. That is not the path of least resistance. Likely with you, likely with me, with all people. If muscles, particularly through the spine, don't want to stretch, as you abduct the arms, again, the back is going to fold and all the joints are not going to maximize their length relationships. You're not going to stack the joints. They're going to flex. But while we're trying to strengthen the body, we're also trying to stretch the body. So squeeze the glutes, abs in, shoulders down, head and neck, long and back. Feel like someone's pulling your head up as you abduct the arms all the way up. All right, let's hinge at the hips again. I'm going to show you from the front and then extend the arms back. Hold for a moment and then back down. I'm going to come out of it, but you continue to roll. So you're over flexing with this, whether you have 3 pounds or 5 pounds, doesn't really matter. Feel like your shoulder blades are contracting in a way like you were lifting 10. So you get to that finished position, say here, you are squeezing those shoulder blades as tight as you can. Think about squeezing the inner thighs, pulling up in the kneecaps and glutes as tight as you can. Give a little more effort than what is necessary. Again, all that muscle tension through your low back, or through your hips and legs, stretches your low back. It actually optimizes the length through the hip flexors. So it makes sure that we're not excessively arching or rounding. So inner thighs, glutes, abs, and then extend the arms back, making sure that the head does not come forward. Keep that head back. Keep the shoulders back, arms nice and straight. You got 10 seconds here, and then we've got another series. So just finish up the last rep or so, and we'll be back on our hands and knees. Go ahead, set your dumbbells down. I'm going to show you from the side. We have an alternating quadruped position with opposite arm and leg reach. Looks like this. I do want you to point your toe. Come a little forward here. I want you to point your toe as you reach your arm, and then opposite sides. Go ahead, join. Now, on this one, it's also important that we're not shifting through the hips and the spine is not extending. It's a little thing, but it does, it does matter, because as you extend that leg back, how this stays flat directly affects how you're going to engage your glute. If you're arching here, what ends up happening is that on the leg lift, you're not really using the glute muscle. Again, if you're arching here, you're using your low back to lift the leg. The whole idea of this is to actually use the glute to lift the leg. So I try to make sure that the back is not arching. Again, as you lift, make sure that the arm comes up, and I'll show you from the front here, that on the lift, you got 15 seconds, on the lift, that we're not rotating through the shoulders. You think your hips and shoulders, they're always presenting themselves square, flush with the floor. 5 more seconds here, and we've got a prone Superman. Really, really difficult exercise, but just do your best. So we'll be on our stomachs. Now I want your feet together and toes pointed with this. Arms are forward, hands can stay separated, and we're gonna lift. Lift and hold for a brief, maybe 3 count, and then back down. Go ahead, join me. On the lift, squeeze the legs together. Pull up on the kneecaps, point the toes. Your feet should remain literally glued together. You'll notice on the lift, almost immediately the legs want to fly open. That probably means your low back is actually just too tight. Again, because it's that kinetic chain. So it's something we want to work on improving is how mobile is your spine? If your spine moves really well, chances are you move really well, and how you move becomes more and more effortless. So squeezing the legs will help with that pursuit, releasing tension, not just through the ankles, but quite literally all the way up into the low back. Just pull up on the kneecaps, squeeze the upper inner thighs. Now when you lift your arms up, make sure that the shoulders are also staying depressed. So on the lift, we're not elevating forward. On the lift, you're actually depressing the shoulder down on the lift. Lift and hold for a couple seconds. If you look up on this, that's okay. Just make sure the shoulders are way down. And you got 5 more seconds here. Finish your last rep. And then we have rapid. I'm going to show you from the side because side profile helps. So on your knees, on your toes. With this, just like the Superman, you want to have your feet together. So you're still squeezing the ankle joints together with toes pointed. And then the goal is to round the spine, flexing over, getting that forehead to the knee. If you can get here, then you can start to bring the butt up. If you're not there, just continue to work towards that full flexion of the spine, getting the crown of that head to the forehead. Now, a couple things to think about as you're doing it. If you really pull the abs in, that'll give you a little more stretch through the lumbar spine along that flexion of the spine, perhaps getting the forehead just a little closer to the knee, as well as if you're able to grab the heel here. If you're not able to actually grab your heels, that's okay too. Just put your hands on your hips and start to round forward. There's no fault with even being here. If this even hurts, just hold the position and start flexing forward as you start to sit back. That's okay. Squeeze the upper inner thighs together. Again, what I'm trying to do here with this rabbit posture is release the posterior chain. You can take the backside muscles of your spine. This is really a nice compliment to the Superman because you're essentially contracting all the same muscles. So flexion here versus extension. So as we flex to the spine, pull the abs in. You can get to this position and try to start widening the shoulders to release the upper back muscles. And just continue to hold for about 10 more seconds. And pull the abs in, squeeze the glutes. Very nice. Back to the first exercise. So it's that quadruped. I'll show you from the front. Get right into it here for me. Lift and hold for a moment. Again, you are reaching your arm, but you're not letting the shoulder protract right now. I want you to keep the shoulder down as you lift that arm, because again, we're trying to keep the shoulders and hips square on these. Alternate your sides. Again, making sure not to arch the low back and keeping the shoulders square. So when the arm lifts, I see this often, people rotate that shoulder joint open. Hopefully not you. So keep the shoulders square to the floor. Keep the hips square to the floor on those lifts. You got 15 more seconds here. Hold for a moment. Again, stack arm joint. Don't bend the elbow. Don't bend the wrist. So full length. Reach the toe. When you hold for a moment, you should actually feel, and if you don't, it's not a big deal. When you point that toe, you should actually feel a line of tension all the way through the medial chain muscles of that leg. All right, let's go ahead and switch. We've got the prone Supermans right now. I'm going to show you from the front so we get some good lift. Have your legs together. Begin nice and high. Hold for a moment. You can look up, that's okay. And then back down. At no point do you want your legs separated. Keep your legs together. Squeeze your ankles together. Squeeze your knees together. Squeeze your upper inner thighs together. And then squeeze your glutes and lift. It's really hard to do, but it's really important. Now, again, I would actually describe a lot of these prone extension exercises. What you're doing right now is a prone extension exercise as actually irritating because it requires a huge degree of effort to barely move. But that's okay. You are actually strengthening the entire posterior chain of your body. It does get easier in time, but also what you're doing by getting better at these prone exercises is you're actually releasing the front of your body. That's really good because that enhances posture so that naturally shoulders just kind of fall back and down. Your hips naturally rest in the correct position so we're not getting excessive compression into that lumbar spine. These prone exercises really, really help with that pursuit. So one more rep here and then rabbit. And rabbit it is. Squeeze the ankles together as we flex forward. Pull the abs in, forehead or crown of that head to the knees. Then you can start to pop the butt up if you're there, widening the back of the shoulders. But again, at no point do I want the heels to separate. Think about starting from there. So again, anchor, legs, even if you're here, that's fine. Even if you're here, that's fine. And then start flexing forward. And you can increase range of motion through the hips, but the heels don't separate. Start presenting the butt down, but continue to fold forward as you draw the abs in. Full spine flexion from really the tailbone all the way to the neck. So just releasing the same muscles that you were contracting from that Superman position. You got about 5 more seconds here. And go ahead and let that one go. We're going to take a quick drink of water here. We are actually on the last block already, so we made fantastic time. It'll take about 10 seconds or so. And you will need your sleeve for this last series. If you don't have a sleeve, it's not the end of the world, but the sleeve does add a little resistance because what we will be doing is knee abduction. So with your feet about shoulder width here, we don't need to be much wider. Sleeve over the knees. If you don't have it, not that big a deal. Hands right here, we're simply abducting. So before we were up and down, right now we're just pushing the knees out. This is really glute max engagement. What I mean by glute max is the big butt muscle right here. So as you're abducting out, I want you to actually squeeze your glute to push the knees out. Now, as fatigue sets in, that pelvis is going to want to start tilting forward. Because I've been talking a lot about the spine, same rules apply with this. You want to keep that spine in that straight position as the knees abduct out. Don't let that happen. If this happens, this is going to happen. Keep the head back, but tuck the tailbone under, tuck the hips under, pull the abs in. Really pull the abs in. I mean, really, really pull the abs in. And keep it going all the way up to the diaphragm, diaphragmatic tension, and then squeeze your glutes as you abduct out. You got 30 seconds here. This is a long minute. I know it's hard. Work through. We're actually close to the end. Just keep pushing the knees out. Even if you don't have a sleeve, muscles should really start to be burning because you are over flexing the muscles of the abdominals, drawing in. You are over flexing of the glutes. Just continue to hang in here for the next 10 seconds. And then we have a reverse plank. If a reverse plank is too much, I'll give you an alternative in the last 3 seconds here. Keeping your sleeve on, go ahead, present yourself to the floor like so. Here's the reverse plank. So on the heels, on the palms, hands directly underneath my shoulders. I'm pushing my hips up, keeping my head in a neutral position. If you're cool with this, go ahead, join me. If not, you'll simply hold a bridged position with pushing your knees out. So hands will be like so. Push your hips up and then push your knees out. If you are here, squeeze your shoulder blades back and down. Draw your abs in. Now, as I'm holding this bridge position, you want to make sure that the low back's not arching. So continue to tuck the hips under, pull the abs in, much the same as we were with the squat. Now, again, if you're already here, you got 30 seconds here. This is great as well. You can turn the hands out slightly, but again, make sure the hips are not dropping. Keep the hips up. Make sure the head isn't falling back or coming forward. Neutral spine position as you squeeze the shoulder blades together. Pull the abs in. Push the knees out a little bit. That's okay. That's why that sleeve's on. We really want to engage those glute muscles and just hang out here for another 20 seconds. Just hold the position. I know this one is quite uncomfortable for a lot of people. Why? Because the front of your body is tight. Quite literally, that is why. As these muscles release, it's not that bad holding the position. Actually, reverse plank should feel a lot like a plank, but reverse. Anyway, let's last one here. We've got a bear hug. Should feel really nice. Keep the sleeve on. We are on our backs. Bear hug yourself and squeeze the knees together. Now, keep your shoulders back and down. Reach the crown of that head towards the wall behind you. Your feet can be relaxed on this. As I'm squeezing the knees together and drawing the knees into my chest, I'm actually trying to tilt my pelvis forward. So I'm pushing my tailbone down into the floor. That looks like this. Tilting forward. So even though I'm on my back, I'm trying to tilt my pelvis forward, pull your abs in, pull your shoulders back. All these cues are designed to create as much length through the spine as possible. So not only are you getting stronger, you're actually hopefully getting maybe a little taller. Squeeze the knees together, shoulders back, head, neck nice and long. Got 5 more seconds here. If you rock a little bit on this, not the end of the world, kind of like that actually, can feel kind of good through the hips. Hip flexors even, but just continue to think about pushing the tailbone down, pulling the abs in. All right, we're going to be back on our feet. We got one more time with this. We are on the last of the circuits. So on our feet, hold your squat position, abduct your knees out. Remember, draw abs in, squeeze your glutes. Every time you push the knees out, feel your glute muscle contract. Feel the low butt muscle contract because that is what is causing the abduction of the knee. Make sure the head does not fall forward and what is going on with that low back. As you push the knees out, again, I see oftentimes excessive extension through that lumbar. Neutral position. as we abduct out. Continue to roll here. You got 20 seconds. Sit low. So another thing to think about is if you're abducting, right, and you're, say, you get to a certain depth of the squat, and any lower than that, you just tilt forward. Come up a little higher so that you can keep in a neutral position. Why? Because it's a glute exercise. If that pelvis tilts forward, you're transferring a lot of the load into the low back. Not the end of the world, but not optimal. All right, we've got that reverse plank or the bridge. Choose your option. If you are here, perfectly fine. Just simply hold the position, pull the abs in, tuck the hips under, push the knees out. Hold the position. Hold the position by muscles being tight. They are supporting your bones and they're holding you in this position. And the muscles that are supposed to be really firing would be the glutes, abs drawing in, and squeeze your shoulders back and down. You should feel your neck if you're in this position nice and flat to the floor. If you've chosen the reverse plank position, that's great as well. Try to keep the head in neutral position, hips up, straight line. If you're here, just keep trying to push your hips up. If you're almost here, again, just squeeze the glutes, pull the abs in. Now make sure that the arms are straight, but we're not locking the elbow joint. So a straight arm, but feel like your biceps and triceps are what's supporting the elbow joint. You're not just relying on like the connective tissue of that, literally the elbow joint, to hold you in that position. All right, go ahead, come out of that, and we've got that bear hug. This is the final minute. Nice job. This went really quick. So bear hug yourself, pull your shoulders back and down, reach that crown of the head towards that wall behind you. Feet can be doing whatever it is they will. Squeeze the upper inner thighs together to draw the abs in. Try drawing the abs in a little more. I mean, literally, draw them in a little more. Feel from the pubic bone all the way up to that diaphragm, and then tilt your pelvis forward. Again, I will show you because tilting and tucking isn't really intuitive. It takes a lot of practice to kind of get it. Again, this is a tilt. So tilt your pelvis down as you pull your knees in. That's naturally going to release the muscles of the tailbone over to the back of the trochanter of the hip. You got a lot of muscles back there. So again, tilt, pull the knees in, but as you pull the knees in, pull your shoulders down, and then reach the crown of the head towards the wall. You got 5 seconds here. And that is it. Very nice. So that completes the workout for today. Thank you for joining me. I do plan on doing these workouts every Wednesday and Saturday at 9 a.m. So hope to see you again, and I appreciate you showing. Thank you.